GST was expected to ease the tax filing process, but commentators say that it has actually done the reverse. We have ChatGPT, we have robotics you can talk, we have robotics in almost every industry. There is capital intensive industry. So are we really running against the tide when we talk about skills?
What is the difference, or what different attributes are required for an all India officers which may not be required to that extent in a central service like income tax or custom?
What are the three major challenges of Indian economy today? So you have an interest in playing classical chess. Can you tell me the difference between Sicilian defense and King's Indian defense?
I need to brush up my own knowledge about my own state and to a larger extent, I think. As of I have written in my diary, but I think I'm forgetting those things and I need more and more revision as of now. May I come in, sir? Thank you. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Please sit down, Suryabhan.
Thank you, sir.
So, Suryabhan, you are already in income tax.
Sir, I'm in customs and indirect taxes.
All right. Okay. Very good. So, Suryabhan, I'm very impressed with your DAF, I must say that. You are from IIT BHU, you come from a small town, and in spite of that, you have come to this level. I must congratulate you for that. So, you have already joined custom and excise. All right. And you are still a probationer, or it has become a regular job now?
No, sir. I have been just joined the service in 19th of December last year. So I'm under probation, and it's been just 3.5 months into the service as of now.
All right. Very good. Where is it center to train?
The training is centered at Faridabad, Nasim Faridabad. The headquarters is at Faridabad, and there are multiple zonal training institutions.
I observed that you are not opted for foreign service. Why so?
So my parents are very ill as of now, and I wish to be with them in their.
You can always carry them to your place of posting.
Right, my parents have their own personal ambition that to stay in the country and I wish to be with them with them always.
Mm-hmm. All right. I find that you come from Machhlishahr, Jaunpur.
Yes, sir.
Why do you call it Machhlishahr?
So long back time there used to be a machli kund wherein the so-called as farming pond was there, the fishing pond wherein lot of fish used to be cultivated from that, and that became a hub for a market, and thereafter it was called as Machhlishahr.
Mm-hmm. So I asked you what is so special about Machhlishahr. What will you say?
As of now, sir, there are historic remains of Buddhism over there in Machhlishahr.
Buddhism?
Yes, sir.
All right, very nice. What exactly is that?
So
how old are those?
So those, sir, I'm not very clear about it, sir.
Which place in Machhlishahr those Buddhist remnants are there?
I will have to go through it, sir. Sorry, sir.
All right. Tell me, in addition to Machhlishahr, what is special about Jaunpur?
The specialities, there are multiple specialities, starting from architectural grandeurs of the Sharki Sultanate of 15th century and 16th century.
Which Sultanate?
Sharki Sultanate.
Sharki dynasty.
Yes. The Lal Darwaza.
Sharki dynasty was not a part of Sultanate. Sultanate was Delhi tha.
Yes.
So who were the main ruler of Sharki dynasty?
So the Hussain Shah and the Mubarak Shah were the two rulers of Sharki Sultanate in around 1480s. And architectural grandeurs such as the Lal Darwaza Masjid, the Tala Masjid, the Jama Masjid is present. Thereafter, Akbar built a Shahi bridge. Shahi Pul is very famous.
On which river?
It is built on Gomti River in 1568. Sir. And with regards to music, the Sharkis were very fond of music and they established the Khayal genre over there. The Jaunpuri Rag emerged from there itself. In terms of The agriculture, the radish of Jaunpur is very famous for its big.
Famous poet from that place? From Jaunpur?
Sir, the Mubarak Shah himself was a very famous poet from that region, sir. Rest, sir, I will have to.
Jaisi?
Sorry, sir, I have not heard of. Sorry,
Malik
sir.
Muhammad Jaisi?
No, sir, I have not heard of it.
All right.
I'll read more on that, sir.
All right, okay. Now, since you are already in the services, and that too in a very good service, and you are now aspiring to become either an IAS or an IPS officer, can you tell me what is the difference between an All India service and a non-All India service?
One is the management of the cadres. So the central services have their own zones, and the postings are being their postings could range from one state to the other. While in All India service, the states are confined and they can go on center or other states only on deputation, sir. This is
So
one.
they are what? They are the government of India's employees or state government employees?
Sir, the All India service is are being recruited by the center, but under the direct control of the state for the time being.
What does that mean? We are recruited by under the control. That means what? We are employees of the state government or central government?
So they are the immediate control lies with the state government in terms of transfers and in terms of transfer policies, while the larger control of remains with the central government in terms of its appointments, removal.
अपॉइंटमेंट तो शुरू में हो जाता है ना रिक्रूटमेंट.
And the central government employees are.
All right, but this is not quite correct. I must tell you that all India service officers are born on state cadre. We are employees of the state government and not the employees of the central government. However, since we are recruited and appointed by the President of India, so for all major punishment, things come to the government of India. And our cadre controlling, because we are allocated to various cadres, so cadre controlling authority happens to be the government of India. Like in case of IAS, it is DOPT, in case of police, it is Home Ministry, in case of Forest Service, it is Ministry of Environment and Forest. But tell me why this system was devised, this system of all India services was devised. Where was the need? आप क्यों नहीं गए ओनली IAS ऑफिसर की जगह पे पीसेस ऑफिसर रखते हैं या जो भी होता है अपने स्टेट का रखते हैं अपने ऑफिसर्स. There was a need to create this kind of a mechanism so that neither government of India has got full control nor state government has got full control. It's a very nebulous kind of thing. So why this confusion? How is it helping this country? This confusion is helping this country.
I will have to think on that side.
That is very, very important because what happened, it is a very diverse country, highly pluralistic country, multi-ethnic, multilingual, multi-religious. Under these circumstances, to keep the country united, it is very necessary that the central government has some kind of a control over the administration in the entire country. However, since it is a very big country, it is very necessary to give enough control and authority to the state government. So all these people are recruited and trained by the government of India, but then allocated to the various states. And there is a condition that only maximum 1/3 can be insiders. So while working in the central government, they take care of the state government because they come to the central government does not have its own bureaucracy. Central government borrows officers from all over the world, all over the country. And similarly, when they are working in the state government, they take an interest of the central government in their mind. So that there is a beautiful flow of information and keeping the interest of the entire nation in their mind. That's all. Tell me, my last question on this issue. Because you are already in revenue services, what is the difference or what different attributes are required for an all India officers, which may not be required to that extent in a central service like income tax or custom, or for that matter even foreign service.
So, one is the generalist thinking, that is having a broad knowledge of each and every segment of any policy that is being about to come. Likewise, with regards to revenue services and other services, very specialized services, and these servicemen work in particular domain, be it in taxation or accounting or auditing, and that is one. Secondly, so the all India service officers are supposed to have a uniformity in their own cadres in terms of their functioning.
वो तो आपके भी है, यूनिफॉर्मिटी तो आपके और ज़्यादा होगी इनकम टैक्स में या कस्टम में. वो मैं पूछ रहा हूँ आपसे, वो एट्रीब्यूट दोस आर डिफरेंट फ्रॉम सेंट्रल सर्विसेज.
डे टू डे प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग attitude should have.
अभी है, मान लो आपको कुछ छोटा मोटा प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है, तो यू हैव टू सॉल्व दिस प्रॉब्लम विद इन योर ओन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. फर्स्ट आई एग्री एंड मस्ट टेल यू, there are primarily two attributes which are required. First, you should be able to look into a bigger picture. You are very right when you said that you work in a very narrow area when you are working in any of these services. But when you work in all India services, you are not supposed to be an expert of any particular area. So you have to take, because that gives you freedom and that gives you an opportunity to look into a bigger picture rather than looking into the legs of elephant or the tail of an elephant or the ear of an elephant. You have to look into the entire picture. Only then you will know that this is an elephant and this is not like this. So that is very important, that you should be able to create a bigger picture, and that happens only when you are willing and you take an effort to understand various viewpoints. तो कोई एक इशू है जिसमें फार्मर का भी व्यू पॉइंट ले रहे हैं, किसी साइंटिस्ट का भी व्यू पॉइंट ले रहे हैं, किसी लॉ एंड ऑर्डर एजेंसी का भी व्यू पॉइंट ले रहे हैं, एंड टैक्स वालों का भी व्यू ले रहे हैं, एंड यू हैव टू असिमिलेट दोज व्यूज एंड क्रिएट an animal which can fly. That's the idea. That is number one. And number two, the decision making power. You see, like in income tax, custom or any other services, you know exactly what the rules are. इतना रुपए का है, ये टैक्स लगेगा, ये रूल लगेगा, ये सब प्रोसेस है, and that kind of thing, like in GST, or you know exactly what needs to be done. In the all India services, you will find it very difficult to find any such रूल्स काइंड ऑफ थिंग, इधर इसमें होगा तो ये करेंगे, एंड दैट रिक्वायर्स सम काइंड ऑफ अ कैपेबिलिटी टू टेक अ जजमेंट. इट्स अ जजमेंट. व्हेन यू से डिसीजन, जजमेंट मीन्स इट नॉट 100% परफेक्ट, बट द बैलेंस ऑफ कन्वीनियंस किस में लाइक करती है, एंड हाउ इट विल सेटिस्फाई लार्जर नंबर ऑफ पीपल, एंड स्पेशली दोज हु बिलोंग टू द डिसएडवांटेजेड सेक्शन ऑफ द सोसाइटी. लाइक इन केस ऑफ इनकम टैक्स और कस्टम, देयर इज नो कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ डिसएडवांटेजेस सेक्शन. वो रूल बना हुआ है, तो जिसकी जो इनकम है या जो जीएसटी उसको देना तो देना है, चाहे वो शुल्क को या शुल्क ड्राइव को, चाहे कुछ बैकवर्ड को, इट डजंट मैटर एट ऑल. बट ऑन द अदर हैंड, इन ऑल इंडिया सर्विसेज यू डू गेट अपॉर्चुनिटीज वेयर यू हैव टू टेक अ कॉल, एंड दैट इज अ जजमेंट, subjective satisfaction. So many a times you have to take major decisions depending upon the circumstances, and you must have that capability of taking major decisions. These may or may not be palatable to a whole lot of people. And if we do not take this, and today one of the criticism of the IAS is basically that we do not take decisions in time, and the major may be unpleasant decision, because we think that why should I take a decision, because if I take a decision it may go wrong, and then if it goes wrong there will be some kind of an inquiry. But that is what is expected from an all India service officer, that he or she must take a call, and then he should be willing to face music. He or she has to face the consequences, and that is what is required. So that's why even at a very young age, when you become SDM, you take major decisions. As SDM, I fight I open fire. It's fine. It's a question of life and death. But even at that time, I was only 10, 15 years old in service. And it is very scary, by the way, but then it prepares you for future to take major decisions. So all right. Thank you.
So, Suryabhan, right?
Sir.
You are a mechanical engineer. Can you tell me what is Carnot Cycle?
So it's a four-stage cycle, wherein the first stage is an isentropic cycle, then the second stage is isotropic cycle, and again isentropic and isotropic cycles.
Isentropic and isotropic.
So can I take few seconds to think about
Sure.
it, please? Thank you, sir. So we'll have to think on it, sir. I think
It's okay. I don't know whether you would know it or not, but are adiabatic processes and isentropic processes same?
Again, sir, I will have to read on that, sir.
Okay. A more simpler one. What is Rankine cycle? Okay, now more of current affairs. Have you heard of supercritical thermal power plants?
Yes, sir.
What is exactly so critical about it?
So when the fluid enters the boiler, it is usually in a liquid or gaseous phase. But at a supercritical point, the liquid or the gaseous phase cannot be separated from each other, and the critical pressure is 221 megapascal. Above that, the water cannot be distinguished between whether it is in liquid or gaseous phase. This leads to higher temperature and a gaseous mixture, which entails which when enters into the boiler, into the turbine, the energy required to raise the temperature of this fluid is very less, and therefore we obtain a slightly higher efficiency.
You have said it right that there is higher efficiency, but you haven't said it right. What is the reason behind it? Have you heard of latent heat of vaporization?
Yes, sir. See, in that case, sir, the latent heat of vaporization is not even required,
Right.
as it is already in that phase.
Right. Can you make a comment on the current state of Indian economy? 30 seconds.
The Indian economy has already been already recovered from the COVID-19 pandemic. The GST collections in the previous years reflects the very same. The average GST collection has been 1.51 crores. The e-way bill, the compliance has improved to around 91.4 percentage points. Thereafter, in terms of the exports, we have had $60 billion of exports and an import of around roughly $710 billion of merchandise imports, with new policies, FTP being announced, and the banking system being stable with controlled net performing assets. Indian policy is more on the resilient side and is progressing a lot.
Okay. GST was expected to ease the tax filing process, but commentators say that it has actually done the reverse. What do you think about it?
So I think when GST was launched, it's a completely IT driven system, and certainly there will be not all the sections of the society will be more understanding the IT systems and the technology that is being put into the place. Any system of the level of GST, which will have a remarkable and a drastic changes in the entire taxation regime, will certainly take time to stabilize. And GST, in its own way, is taking time as of now to get relaxed, to get stabilized. So for that, the government has already launched GSTN and FAQs regarding the registration procedures. And I believe it is just the inherent tendency to not go on the online platforms and browse and search about these filing procedures and the registration, which has led to these comments that it has in fact complicated the systems.
Okay. What are the three major challenges of Indian economy today?
So one is tackling the global political turmoil between the Russia-Ukraine war and rising inflation, increasing commodity prices, and along with that, the US federal rates hike that has been prevalent. And third is the cause of the unemployment in the country, which though has reduced to an extent in the post-COVID period, but a lot needs to be done on that front.
So what can Indian government do about it? What are the steps being taken?
So regarding unemployment, government has already launched multiple skill development initiatives, be it National Skill Development Program, the Skills Sector Councils, and Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. Along with that, sir, on the rural front, government has launched programs for the development of rural industries. For instance, in Uttar Pradesh, there is one district, one program, wherein the skills of these small artisans, artifacts, traditional handloom sectors, and power looms are being empowered. Secondly, sir,
These sectoral skill councils, national skill development corporations, they are in place for more than a decade now.
sir,
How do you evaluate their performance? Means
So-
in fifth 5-year plan, they were mentioned actually,
yes.
and we are still talking about them and talking about the same problem, which says that they have not solved the problem.
So that is true, and that the sectoral skill councils have not performed as not many sectors have been able to impart the education, sir. But sir, overall, I think I need to read more on this front to make a sound comment, sir.
Okay, let me give you some food for thought. Don't you think that the very rise of science and robotics has made the skilling actually a losing endeavor? So, should government of India even continue this? We have chat GPT, we have robotics you can talk, we have robotics in almost every industry. There is capital intensive industry. So, are we really running against the tide when we talk about skills?
Yes, sir. The robotics industry, or be it the chat GPT, cannot solve every questions. And even to empower this robotic industry and the chat GPT like programming languages that are being coming up, we need a skill set that will empower these skills. Therefore, we need a reskill and upskilling of the individual that are already being employed. Instead of being skilling, the skilling initiatives that are being largely taken up are for the labor intensive industries where they learn up a semi skill they have an semi skills to at least work at the bottom level.
Okay. So you have an interest in playing classical chess. Uh, can you tell me the difference between Sicilian defense and King's Indian defense?
So in Sicilian defense, the white plays e4 and the black starts with c5. That is one way to not expose the black king in the initially, and also gain a very slow advantage in a classical chess. While King's Indian defense is about playing e4, e5, and the white again starts with d4, which means that exposing the king side and trying to bring both the bishop and the queen in the very starting of the game and gain the center at the same time, sir.
Okay. Can you tell me who did Mikhail Tal face in the final of Chess Masters?
So I think it's Boris Spassky in 1960. Mikhail Tal faced Boris Spassky.
No.
So if I may ask, in which year, sir?
1958.
19. So I have one more person in my mind. Can I speak?
Yeah, please.
Thank you. Is it Mikhail Botniveni?
Right.
So you are from Jaunpur, UP. How your parents went to Palghar?
So in search of job opportunities, long back in early 1990s, my father shifted to Thane region, and thereafter we got settled in Palghar. In 1990s, my father shifted over there.
Okay. So both of they are in business, your parents.
It's a self-employed. Now my father has almost quit his business.
Uh-huh.
He was firstly a teacher. He used to teach Hindi,
Uh-huh.
and my mother had a grocery shop. But now, since all my elder brothers and sisters are well settled, so they have decided not to
Continue.
go with this.
Okay. Good. So you have well knowledge, and now you are almost Maharashtrian instead of UPian.
I think so, I'm an all-Indian character. I've lived in Bangalore as well as in Delhi. And
Bangalore also?
yes, I've been there for 1 year.
For you. 1 year. Okay. And Delhi for?
For 2.5 years, sir.
For?
For preparation for civil service.
Okay, good. Okay. But most of Palghar is famous for what for it is famous? Palghar, you were settled over there. What for it is famous?
So it is famous for multiple reasons. One is there are a lot of tribal population. Secondly, chiku, the sapota, Golwad sapota is a type of chiku that is a GI variety that is being there.
It is being produced, yeah.
It was wrongly in news for malnutrition and earthquake storms in the Palghar region.
And which agriculture crops are generally grown over there?
So a lot of cultivation takes place in terms of vegetables in the Palghar region. Sir. And regarding crops, so dal is one of the arhar tur dal is being cultivated.
Yeah. It is good. It is good for paddy cultivation. It is good for finger millet. Nowadays, that this year is for the millets. Why millets?
It has triple benefits. One is in terms of ecology, second economy, and third is health. If I start with health, it has very low glycemic index, and that means it has very low tendency of heart stroke or disease like cardiovascular diseases and diabetes. In terms,
So it is good for diabetic.
yes.
Okay, one.
Second is, sir, regarding environment, it is very less water consuming crop, and also it is being sown in the drier parts of the country.
Okay.
So-
So butter, dry land agriculture, they are good crops. And any other?
Economically, sir, if I see the farmers can have an insurance on this, sow this crop and have an insurance, a kind of security for their crop failures of other. Also, with increasing importance of the health, people are preferring millet-based food packaging products in the country as of now. Lot of millets are being also exported.
We were good in millets earlier also. Why we shifted to other two crops, rice and wheat?
So one reason is the millets were being found with disease and infection in 1990s, and therefore a lot of people started cultivating other safer crops like rice and wheat. Second reason is the PDS system that came into the picture in the early 1965. So there was an incentive to grow the rice and the paddy and the wheat. Therefore, this improved to a larger extent. Thirdly, sir, with improved irrigation facilities in the country, the drier regions also shifted towards the rice, paddy, and the sugarcane, as it is witnessed in the Vidarbha region of Maharashtra, sir.
But another is you just said about tribals. So what kind of economic activity they have major in your area?
One is fishing, and secondly using monetization of the minor forest produce that is being produced from the
Any major of those minor forest produce? It is basically honey collection that is famous. It's famous of that area, you know. Okay, good. Jaunpur is your main place. Do you regularly visit that area?
Yes, absolutely, sir.
Okay. What is its older name? Earlier name?
So I will have to
Okay, go through it. Jaunpur.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
And you have BHU, you have studied. Why Sarnath? BHU, Banaras or whatever it is already there. What was the need in older time to make Sarnath as an important place historically?
So, Buddha had given sermons at that place.
What better he would have gone to Banaras instead of staying at Sarnath, because Banaras was the seat of learning.
I also see that Sarnath is known for the Banaras itself, and the Sarnath is known for birthplace of three Jain Mahaviras. And it was already a center of learning by that time. So I see these two reasons, sir.
Just go through it, because you referred Buddha. So maybe it is generally said that he was not allowed to come to Kashi, Banaras. So he stayed there and now that is a place. Okay, now coming to Nepal. In Nepal, the government this time is communist. Earlier it was also communist. What is the difference between these two governments at the moment toward India?
I have to read Indo-Nepal relations. Sir.
It is important. At least so many time have passed and you might be preparing for the civil. So basically this time they are not much inclined toward China. And it is being supported by Congress. So, and Congress is aligned toward India. Just go through it, have a detailed answer. So, indirect taxes, you are. See, if we see as a whole the tax net on Indians, it is very low percentage wise, less than 10% even. But when we see the purchase by the Indians, the costly vehicles, costly items, something like that, then it is known that the income is there with that. How to bring everybody which have much more income into the taxes? Direct taxes, it is not possible. Then what are the reasons or what are the ways by indirect taxing we can bring them to the tax net?
One is a formalization of the economy. With being formalization, the entities, the MSMEs and entities, the self-employed entities will get registered themselves. And from therein, linking the banking system and the financial institution will get an idea of how the income and the house supplies and the purchase is being done. So in a way, likewise, the indirect tax, the CBIC has launched a tool called as BIFA, that is a business intelligent and financial analytics. It's a tool. Likewise, the CBIC has launched a tool Advait, Advanced Analytics on Indirect Taxes. And this tool needs to be linked up with the tool like Insights of CBDT, which is to map the direct taxation regime. That is how the direct taxes are being paid by the customers, people in the country. So in all, I would like to say the linking of the direct taxes and the indirect taxes is one way. Second is formalization of the economy. Third is more facilitative regime like Seva Kendras could be one of the way wherein the people are being encouraged to register themselves even if they are not paying taxes. And fourth, lastly, sir, the decriminalization of the taxation already being done also needs to be put in place as people will be more interested.
So it will be more as a carrot than a stick.
Right, sir.
Okay. See, what has progressed is the tax collection are at the national highways. Everywhere now they are there. Why we are not following the same on the state highways? Why the state governments are not promoting it? They will increase their tax net. They will increase their revenue, and the loopholes which the national highways, they can be done away, because many a times what happens that okay, this is a barrier at a national highway, then they follow some state highway or local highway and then they again come to the national highway. Don't you think that something such kind of idea should come into the mind of the state?
Sir, with e-way bill in picture and RFID being launched, what I see is the integrated checkpost that used to be there on the borders has been removed now. So in a way, the GST has led to an all integration, one nation, one market that is being truly said, the so-called as economic integration of the country. though it's a question that I should ponder, sir, and I will think on it, sir, why the states are not interested in these activities.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So thank you, Suryabhan.
Thank you, sir.
How did you find your interview as compared to your interview in UPSC?
I think, so last year, as of now, I think the domains were very new to me, the starting, and I think I have not much pondered on center states and all India services. I think I need to read much more in detail as I'm aspiring for those services as well. That is one mistake that I've done. And secondly, I need to brush up my own knowledge about my own state and to a larger extent, I think. As of I have written in my diary, but I think I'm forgetting those things and I need more and more revision as of now. Third is about articulation. That is was also missing to some extent, but I hope I will be able to improve in
So,
that.
Suryabhan, I did not find anything wrong with your articulation. That is very good. I have already written you are a good, excellent candidate. However, as I said in the very beginning, there is a difference between all India service and central service. And the requirement for an all India service is a little different, as I said. So, whenever a question is asked, you had to think about various phases of that particular issue. And you should not confine to only one particular phase. That will give an indication that you are in the habit or you have got a personality to analyze various viewpoints and come to some kind of a conclusion. So try to do that. It's not very difficult, but it requires a little bit of training of your mind.
So,
कि आप कभी भी कोई चीज़ न्यूज़ देखते हो, suddenly you get excited. Suddenly somebody comes and tells you something, you think that जो कह रहा ठीक ही कह रहा. No, yes, fine. Keep it aside. Let's look into other viewpoints. Let's find out as many viewpoints as possible in that shortest possible time. And then make up your mind.
right, sir.
Secondly, you must make up your mind in time. That would show whether you can take a decision or not. So, दो चीज़ों पर अगर आप ध्यान रखोगे, I'm sure you'll do wonderfully well. Otherwise, forget all other things. And जब भी opportunity मिले to express your own views and opinion, you must express categorically. Wishy-washy नहीं देना चाहिए कभी. That means ना इधर के हैं ना उधर के हैं. Such people are not required. You must, whether you get to overrule, it doesn't matter very much. But you must express your views. And that is what is required from an all India service officer. He must write everything. कि भाई ये मेरा व्यू, आप overrule कर दीजिए, खत्म हुई बात. That's the decision making process. But many a times, and today what the tendency is that instead of expressing our views fearlessly and categorically, we give a very wishy-washy kind of a thing. हम ये सोचते हैं कि चलो ऐसा दे देते जिससे वो जो इंटरप्रेट करेगा और जैसा डिसाइड. नो, दैट्स नॉट डन. ऐसे बहुत सारे लोग हो सकता है दे आर लिटिल मोर सक्सेसफुल इन कैरियर बिकॉज देन दे आर इन अ पोजिशन टू प्लीज देयर बॉसेस एंड स्पेशली द पॉलिटिकल बॉसेस. बट दैट इज नॉट रिक्वायर्ड फ्रॉम अ सिविल सर्वेंट, स्पेशली फॉर अ कंट्री लाइक इंडिया. शॉर्ट टर्म में हो सकता है इससे कुछ लोगों को पर्सनल बेनिफिट्स हो जाए या समथिंग लाइक दैट, बट नॉट रिक्वायर्ड इन अ लॉन्ग टर्म. And finally, whenever a question is asked about any socio-economic area, you must think of the person who is at the lowest level in the social hierarchy. Always think about it. And then your answer will get calibrated. Your answer will be get tempered accordingly. That's all. I wish you all the very best. Good luck to you.
I think I share Sir's opinion that at least I didn't see any problem with the articulation. Obviously, in some of the questions you didn't know, that is fine. In fact, you answered more than what I expected in chess and mechanical. So I think there is no problem there. If you can brush up a few things, that will only add a value. Otherwise, I found you a very fine candidate. All the best from my side. Thank you.
आपने फॉरेस्ट का भी दिया था, उसमें नहीं हुआ था आपका?
हो गया था सर.
अच्छा, हो गया था फॉरेस्ट का भी, फिर ज्वाइन नहीं किया आपने?
नहीं ज्वाइन किया.
ओके, क्योंकि सिविल में इसमें आगे थे तो
सॉरी
मतलब कस्टम में आ गए थे इसलिए आपने नहीं ज्वाइन किया?
मैंने
हाँ, आई हैव सीन इट, आई हैव सीन इट, या यू हैव क्लियर्ड बट यू डिड नॉट ज्वाइन. ओके, गुड. हाँ, ठीक. पुलिस में आपको कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं आएगी, यू विल बी ऑलराइट पुलिस में?
नहीं सर, आई एम अनफिट फॉर द सर्विस.
आपके क्वेश्चंस को आप आंसर जो करो, आप थोड़ा सा, बिल्कुल सर ने एक शब्द बोला कि सोशल वाला पार्ट वो और कंसंट्रेट. मैंने आपको पर्टिकुलरली पालघर और ट्राइबल का इसलिए ही थोड़ा सा कि ताकि आपको डीप नॉलेज उसमें हो जानी चाहिए कि वाई ट्राइबल्स, वाई रूरल पीपल, वाई सब अर्बन्स, ये आपके आंसर्स में और थोड़ा झलकना चाहिए. और जैसे ही आप इसको शुरू करोगे, that will give you in a limelight. No, you are fit particularly for that service. मैंने थोड़ा सा आपको हनी और उस तरफ, अभी आपको और थोड़ा सा पालघर में आप यदि और थोड़ा सा जाएंगे, टर्मेरिक इज द फेमस क्रॉप. आपको थोड़ा सा, और टर्मेरिक वहाँ का जो है अभी GI जरूर नहीं मिला बट इट इज़ फेमस. वन. Secondly, honey collection by the local people, especially tribals, and then minor processing that is being helped by the government. And now it is in the net. Millets के ऊपर आप फेमस है, millet is famous for that particular finger millet basically. So आपको आंसर जैसे हमने finger millet बोला था, आपको immediately sir, that's why this year this is the year of millets. And why millets? Because we have seen that diabetes are increasing because of rice. Then indigestion is increasing because of wheat or whatever, because fiber is not there, gluten is there. So these are the reason. और इससे तरफ आप फिर इस मिलेट्स में ले जाते तो आपके आंसर में 10-15 मिनट आप उसी में लगाते. ठीक है ना? और आप IAS के लिए बिल्कुल यू आर द फिट कैंडिडेट. आप सर ने एक और शब्द बोला, एक्सप्रेस योर सेल्फ. आप जॉब में आ गए हैं इसलिए थोड़ा सा आप गवर्नमेंट टिल्टेड हो गए. आप गवर्नमेंट के टिल्टेड रहिए परंतु अपने ही विचार रखिए. फिर देखो, ठीक है ना?
All the very best. Anything you would like to ask?
One thing, sir, as a sir pointed out, whether why I have not joined forest services. I have got Tamil Nadu cadre in forest services, and I decided not to join it, sir.
No. But forest, I first was the civil services and good central services. Forest services is a very good service, but my inclination first was toward this. And this time also I have already filled for All India service. That's the reason.
The moment you say that you are allocated to Tamil Nadu cadre,
negative.
that's why you did not.
नेगेटिव, यहाँ भी तो तमिलनाडु कैडर मिलेगा आपको, पुलिस में और IAS में भी तो मिलेगा. तो क्या करोगे आप?
मिजोरम मिल गया तो क्या करोगे?
नहीं सर, मेरा वो पॉइंट ही नहीं था. मेरा कैडर से मतलब I was tilted towards civil services itself right from the beginning.
बस कंसंट्रेट ऑन
बात ही मत करो.
बस आप सेंट्रल सर्विसेज आपने ज्वाइन कर लिया था और मैं
एस्पायरिंग फॉर
बिल्कुल
All India
aspiring.
Can I mention that as I joined, I have already applied for extension in forest services, and for 2 years it is available for us, and I have already joined Indian Revenue Services. I'm enjoying the training probation period, and I think I'm more tilted towards this, and I will continue with the service.
The best answer. It's not a theoretical; it is a practical answer.
It is not very categorical. I'm tilted, etc. That means there is a little bit of confusion in your mind. Don't say that. You said that my first choice is Indian Administrative Service, Indian Police Service, thereafter the central services of revenue, that means income tax and custom, and thereafter my forest. Since I got selected in the central service, so I did not want to join now.
Would have been, यदि हमने पहले पूछा होता तो would have been some question from forest
also.
also.
The moment you create some kind of a confusion in your mind, that will give a little bad picture of your personality. That's why I said decision making. That's why again and again I'm emphasizing कि IAS में decision making is very important. That would show कि you are wishy-washy, करूँ नहीं करूँ, ऐसा करूँ नहीं करूँ. Not required. It's very clear. Anytime your decision will go wrong, it doesn't matter.
और थोड़ा इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स को और थोड़ा सा
हाँ सर, वो मैं पढ़ रहा हूँ सर, वो क्योंकि कोर्स के साथ चल रहा है तो वो आई एम रीडिंग इट वेरी वेल.
रेवेन्यू सर्विसेज जो हैं बेसिकली IAS जो सर्विस है या पुलिस या जो भी, ये इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स को ही तो बढ़ावा देती हैं. कैसे आप नहीं छूट गए तो ऐसे नहीं तो ऐसे.
All the very best. Take care.
Thank you sir. Thank you sir.